I'd like to welcome everyone to the December 1st meeting of the Marion Town Council of Marion, Virginia. I'd like to welcome everyone here. It seems like we've got a good crowd tonight. We've got a lot of interesting stuff going on. I want to say welcome to all the folks watching from home or wherever in the world you might be. You're always welcome in Marion, Virginia. We will begin with our invocation given by Chief Testerman. May we all stand if we're able, please.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for the blessings that you've blessed upon Marion. We ask you for your patience, of wisdom to go along with us in serving our community and treating others fairly with dignity. We ask for your grace and continued blessings as well. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome. We'll begin with the roll call. I see everyone is present and accounted for on council, so I believe we can dispense with formal roll call there. And we will move ahead to the minutes of our November 16th meeting and their approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of those minutes needed? All in favor, please raise your hand in the affirmative, and the minutes are approved. We need an approval of the agenda for tonight.
Are there any corrections or additions?
No more.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now, there are no additions, deletions, or any changes to the agenda that we know of. We'll go ahead and vote on that. All in favor of approving the agenda? Okay, we have an agenda approved. We have a public hearing scheduled, and we have that as our first order of business tonight. It is on our proposed loitering ordinance, and I am going to relinquish that to anyone in our ordinance committee or the town manager, whomever would like to take the point of that.
I think Todd is ready.
Todd, okay. I'm sorry I missed you, Todd, but please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. On September 15, 2025, I was directed by council to draft a loitering ordinance. After I was given that directive, I went and searched state code, and state code section 15.2-926A states that any locality may by ordinance prohibit loitering in, upon, or around any public place, whether public or private property. Section B of that same code states that the punishment for violation of this ordinance not to exceed a Class 3 misdemeanor. The definition of Webster of a loitering is to stand or wait around idly or without apparent purpose. And with that being said, what I've done is I've researched other localities' loitering ordinances that they had. I took 2 or 3 of them that was around here, Bristol, Whitfields, just a couple that's closer to us, and I took those and stripped it down to what I felt was reasonable for Marion. Now, I will preface this by saying that this ordinance does in no way, shape, or form infringe on anyone's right to a peaceful protest, which is covered under the constitutional rights. But would you like for me to read all this, or are you good with that? My throat's a little scratchy. I will if you want me to.
Good with that.
Pardon?
Good with that.
Okay.
You need somebody.
You want somebody else to read it?
I'll read it. So the proposed section will be 46-1.1, loitering or prowling. It shall be unlawful for any person or persons to stand, gather, or loiter on any sidewalk, street, public ground, or public way in the town of Marion in a manner that obstructs, hinders, or impedes free passage or access to or from any place of business, institution, public building, or property. No person or persons gathered shall refuse or neglect to move, depart, or allow free passage after being asked to do so by the owner, leasee, tenant, manager, or occupant of the premise obstructed as described upon the order of any town police officer. B, it shall be unlawful for any person to hide, wait, or loiter near a private dwelling, apartment building, or other residence with the unlawful intent to secretly observe the occupant. C, it shall be unlawful for any person to loiter in, about, or any public restroom for the purpose of engaging or soliciting any lewd, lavishness, or unlawful act. D, it shall be illegal for anyone to lodge in any building, structure, or place, whether public or private, without the permission of the owner or the persons in possession or control thereof. E, it shall be illegal for any person to loiter in or around any restaurant, tavern, or other public building as used in this subsection. Loiter means to, without just cause, remain in a restaurant, tavern, or public building, or to stay on the property immediately adjacent thereto after being asked to leave by the owner, person entitled to possession or control thereof, or by any officer. It shall be unlawful for any person to sleep in any public park, on any public benches, in a public square, a public sidewalk, or to park or remain parked in a motor vehicle at any public place or at any place open to the public to engage in any conduct prohibited under this section. Any individual found guilty of this violation or any part of the section shall be guilty of a Class 3 misdemeanor.
Thank you, Todd. Now, the motion as written has been read into the minutes, and this is a public hearing. So we do have a couple of members of the public that have signed up to speak at the public hearing, and also I will open the floor to other people that were not aware that we would like for you to sign the sheet. The first person that signed was J.S. Staley. And J.S., if you'll approach the podium, give us your name, address, and the floor is yours.
I'm J.S. Staley. Lived in Marion most of my life. I live at 337 West Main Street. And it just amazes me. I don't go looking for these things, but today at 1:30, I started in the post office, and there was a vagrant laying there in the vestibule, sound asleep. I'm assuming he's sound asleep. I called 911, and the 911 operator said, well, was he breathing? And I said, quite frankly, I don't know, because he was soundly gone. And I said, the other reason I don't go and check is because I know some of these people are schizophrenic individuals, and the last thing I want to do is wake somebody up coming out of a deep schizophrenia coma. So I called 911, as I said, and they asked me if I had done all these things, and I said, I haven't done them, and I'm not going to do them because some trained people need to be on the scene for this, and especially mental health people. And that's one of the groups that I have been really disappointed in because I don't think they're doing their job. And I would like to see them being forced to do their job if they refuse to do so. But at 1:30 today, there was a man sound asleep. I don't know what he was. He was pretty well dressed. I didn't have any apprehensions, but I left a message and I don't know what happened. I've just run into these things by happenstance. But I think that's a terrible introduction to the town of Marion, that you go to your post office and there lies somebody. And these are not just, this is not just a one-off event. It happens more regularly than any of you think. Why I'm the unfortunate one that stumbles over it and then comes to talk to you all and see you about the fact that there needs to be some corrective action taken. And I thought, I haven't been here for some time, you all probably have noticed, because I'm a pain in the side. But I thought we had done you all had done a pretty good job eventually, early in the fall, of helping resolve this situation. But if somebody was out there at noon today, the problem hadn't gone away, and I just hope I don't stumble over one again in this kind of situation, because if my task is to check them out and find out what kind of shape they're in, somebody around here is not doing their job. And as I said, I don't think mental health is doing a very good job in dealing with some of it, because I can't help but escape the thought that this guy this afternoon was somebody that had an appointment with mental health and then came down for a nap. But I hope you will continue working on this, and this is the prime time for you to be working on it, because it's the winter time and it's usually pretty calm and I think this time of year. If it goes on until next spring, it's not going to be a good situation. So I beg you all to continue to work on the matter and resolve the situation to the best of your ability. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person that we have scheduled or interested is Tom Howard. Tom. Oh, well, yes, there you are, sir.
Thank you, Eric. I wrote notes. I usually don't do that, so I've got a lot to say, and I wanted to be explicit. And I want to, and I appreciate JS's comment. But I do want to commend the police department. We had an individual who was having a mental health crisis walking down in front of my house. I called the police, and they were there in 3 minutes, and they addressed the problem. And they took him to a mental health facility, I understand. So it's all that as far as I can see. My name is Tom Howard. I live at 218 North Church Street. I want to, first of all, preface my remarks by noting I'm a landowner in Marion, in downtown Marion. I live at the corner of Church and Lee Street. I've been there for 40 years. I also am co-owner for an apartment complex down on Main Street, which has considerable frontage on both the river and Main Street. Additionally, I walk a lot in Marion. You may have seen me cruising around. I like to walk down to the post office, to the hardware store. I frequently travel on the river walk almost on a daily basis. And I gotta admit, in the 40 years that I've been here, I've never felt threatened or unsafe in the town of Marion. That's just a flat statement. And I just want to tell you, I am highly opposed to this ordinance. I believe it is largely unwarranted. I believe it's a violation of civil liberties. And very significantly, it has huge potential for unintended consequences and abuse. I'm concerned that this is an exclusionary, discriminating ordinance designed to clean out folk deemed undesirable from Marion streets. I think that at the root, that's what this thing is all about. At its roots, it's an effort to eliminate folk that don't fit acceptable criteria of economic status, social behavior, gender identity, or other characterizations. We can do better than this. I'm concerned, and I'll get into this in just a minute, that it's a violation of the First Amendment right to peacefully assemble. The right that we all have is guaranteed in the Constitution. Unless you think that's a hypothetical issue, I have about 5 or 6 people here that will back me up. On October 29th, we were demonstrating, and an individual from Smith County somewhere called the sheriff's office and said, these people are out here demonstrating and they are violating a loitering ordinance. They in turn called the state police. The state police came out and talked to us, ran us off for that day, although they did cooperate us to the extent that they said, we will investigate this. They investigated it and they found that the loitering accusation was fallacious. that there was no basis to it, and we are free to continue doing whatever we want to do in terms of demonstrating. The point is, if you have a loitering ordinance, and this is a very subjective document. I mean, if you read this thing, one person can read it and they get one interpretation, another person can read it and they get an entirely different interpretation. I like the clause, in this particular document, one of the subjective issues is without cause, or without just cause. Well, what does that mean? One person thinks one thing and one person will think another thing. So this, as far as I'm concerned, ordinance is a challenge to our constitutional right to assemble. As a minimum, this ordinance must explicitly state an exemption for the right of people to peaceably assemble, to petition the government for redress of grievances as required by the First Amendment of the Constitution. As a minimum, if you guys accept this ordinance, you must put that in there, because it's not clear in this ordinance that the right to assemble is guaranteed. Furthermore, I want to look at some of the other specific clauses. Section A, we talk about, no person shall gather or refuse to neglect, to move, depart, or allow free passage after being asked to do so by an owner, leasee, tenant, manager, or occupant of the premises. What authority does an owner, leasee, tenant, manager, or occupant of the premises have to order somebody on public property to move along? From my way of thinking, that's a law enforcement issue, and it should be handled by a policeman. They are trained to execute the law impartially and fairly to all persons. If you've got tenants, occupants, owners of property enforcing this ordinance, each one of them is going to have a different opinion on what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. We all have our own internal prejudices, right? And this lack of definition and allowing these individuals to enforce this law is just an open invitation to discriminate. It's not fair and it's not just. And if you're gonna have a law enforcement action, it needs to be executed by someone who's trained to do it in a just and fair manner. A couple others that I'm concerned about. It shall be illegal for a person to loiter in or around any restaurant, tavern, or public building. You get that? It's illegal for any person to loiter in or around any restaurant, tavern, or public building. This is clearly a civil rights violation. Freedom of speech and assembly is assured in the Constitution. All persons have the right to gather in public places and express their First Amendment rights of free speech. There is a condition, the second sentence, which Todd pointed out, as used in this subsection. Loiter means without just cause. What does that mean? You might have a definition for with just cause. He has another definition for with just cause. I am unconvinced that this ordinance will not overrule my First Amendment rights to gather and express myself in accordance with the First Amendment. Here again, if you adopt this amendment, it must explicitly state an exemption for the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. If I read this thing, if we're out front demonstrating on the town hall, on the sidewalk, legally doing so without impeding progress, somebody can walk out of the town hall and say, you guys got to move on. It's not clear to me that that's not what this thing says. Or if we're protesting in front of the courthouse, and the janitor in the courthouse comes out and says, I don't like you guys being here, I think you ought to move on. According to this ordinance, as I read it, they need to move on. We'll have to move on. So I feel it's clearly a violation of the First And then we get to sleeping, okay? And I want you all to think about this because it goes to what I feel is a major flaw in this ordinance, and that has to do with selective prosecution, okay? So this thing says, if you remain in a parked motor vehicle at any public place or any place open to the public, you're subject to violation of this ordinance. All right, so we know RVs come to Walmart parking lot all the time, right? People stay there, they spend the night there, and then in the morning they take off. Maybe they buy something at Walmart. They're in violation of this ordinance if they do that. So what does that mean? Now, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a police officer, so give me a little slack here. But if you're not gonna arrest that person in that RV, you're doing a selective prosecution. You are ignoring this ordinance. And you are putting the police in a pretty tenable position, uncomfortable position, because they have to decide, who am I going to enforce this ordinance against, and who am I going to ignore it for? Am I going to enforce it for the RV parker in Walnut parking lot? And how about the guy in JS's case? How do I handle that? Where do I draw the line? And here again, it's very subjective, and I think it's fraught with the potential for selective prosecution and discrimination. One more point, and then I'll move on. And that has to do, well, I guess I already said it. Yeah, so I'm down at the Riverbend Park, and it's a nice sunny day, and I lay a blanket out, and I fall asleep, and I take a nap. You have to arrest me. If you don't, you're guilty of selective prosecution. So if you go by this document and you agree to it and you agree that the law applies to all people equally, you've got to arrest me. Because not to arrest me means that you're not enforcing the law equitably for all persons. It's that simple. So I think, man, I'm really concerned about this. I think you're wading into grounds where you're subject to a lot of selective prosecution and discrimination of our population. We can do better than this. This is simply an ordinance to clear Marion of people that don't look like they should look like or don't act like they should like. Thank you very much. Appreciate your attention.
Tom, thank you. Okay, and I did say that if anyone else would like to speak, Pastor Kayla.
I am Kayla Kowholtz. I live at 102 Sprinkle Avenue, and I am the pastor of Ebenezer Lutheran Church here in town. A reading from Matthew 25. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was ill, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you ill or in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, "Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Then he will say to those on his left, "Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, and you did not clothe me. I was ill and in prison, and you did not look after me." They will also answer, "Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or ill or in prison and did not help you?" He will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me." My biggest issue with the ordinance, and I appreciate all that Tom had to share, so I want to focus in on Section F. that it shall be unlawful for any persons to sleep in any public park or on public benches or in a public square or on public sidewalk, or to park or remain parked in a motor vehicle at any public place or any place open to the public, and to engage in any conduct prohibited under this section. I think that from my reading of this really does focus in on the unhoused population that we have in this community. And we know that we have a rather large unhoused population in this community for our small town. And I understand the frustration surrounding that. I understand the frustration and concern in finding someone sleeping in the post office. I understand that frustration. I understand it very well. Myself and other pastors have spent years, hours upon hours, money, our own money, helping members of the unhoused community with very little positive return from the people who we have helped. I have been cussed out, lied to, stolen from, and I had to carry a woman bleeding out, an unhoused woman bleeding out from a miscarriage, to a car to get her to a hospital. I have had to turn away people breaking my own heart when we had no more money to give. And yet we have continued to still try to help the unhoused community. We continue to help and advocate for this unhoused community with very little help from local or state leadership. I have heard time and time again how government officials shouldn't be in charge of helping the unhoused, and that's fine, but you shouldn't hinder them either. The unhoused population is not just going to go away because they are moved off of the Riverwalk property or because we pass this ordinance. Pastoral and community leaders are doing what we can, but we need more help. We need you, members of council, and you, mayor, to advocate for the least of these. I imagine most people in this room identify as Christian. We even opened with a prayer before now. And yet there will still be people who argue with me about this and argue that Jesus didn't mean what he said when he very explicitly called us to help the poor. There is no getting around this. There is no mistranslation of the text here. We are called to help. And I understand that we need to keep people safe. I understand that this isn't just about the unhoused community, it's about the community at large. But we don't help anyone by trying to make life even harder for the people whose lives already hang in the balance, for the people who already are pushed aside and are trying to be forgotten by our wider community. There has to be another way, but homelessness is not going to just go away, and the unhoused are still human beings, they are not public nuisances just to be hidden away so that we can pretend that they don't exist. But something else needs to be done in order to help the people who are unhoused and are struggling. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And the floor is still open. I saw Charles first. Billy, I'll get to you in just a second. Mr. Hayden.
My name's Charles Hayden. Live South Church Street, Marion, Virginia. I've had a few problems with this. I'm gonna go back on a little bit of history in the process. But this loitering, I'm gonna start out by reminding every one of y'all that the law clearly says before you can sit in the seat you're in, you must be a citizen of Marion for 30 days. Well, I know this is a backdoor way to get rid of the homeless. Well, if they're here 30 days, they're a citizen of Marion. So you're discriminating against a group of citizens. Now, my question is about the ordinance. These pictures that I'm having y'all to look at, most of them were taken during the pandemic. Well, if you look at the pictures, the town of Marion thought it was prudent to block the sidewalk. I don't think one or two people standing around talking is blocking the sidewalk. Also, if you look at the pictures real well, not a single person is loitering. But you do have benches for people to sit on and loiter. Because whether you're shopping, resting, or whatever, under this law, you are trying to do classifies as loitering. So I'd be ashamed of myself to try to pass an ordinance when you proudly, in this council meeting, proudly told about putting those benches out there for the convenience of the public to sit at. It's a disgrace. This loitering is a total disgrace because not only you invited the public to sit on Main Street, we all know, and you won't say it, but the fact is you're trying to get rid of a class of people that is legally citizens of this town if they've been here 30 days. Good luck with whatever your conscience says.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Stanford?
Bill Stamper, 659 Spruce. You know, I wasn't gonna say anything, and I wore my Mayberry shirt. I don't know why I wore this tonight, but this loitering, law, that's trying to be passed, it reminds me of an Andy Griffith episode that had this hobo. He was there, and if he stopped, Barney arrested him. If he started walking, Barney arrested him. So if you're gonna get people for loitering, when's vagrancy coming in next? I mean, if they're just standing around and they're, out here on the sidewalk, standing there talking or whatever, that's loitering. Moving without anywhere to go, that's vagrancy. So we all should stay in our houses. So if this is passed, when does the vagrancy law come in? That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Huber?
I'm Bill Huber. I live at 228 North Church Street. And most of what I was going to say has been said by somebody else, so I don't need to elaborate too much on anything else, except to suggest that the park-like settings that we have in town for folks to relax and even perhaps take a noontime nap or an afternoon, late afternoon nap, it seems to me should be continue to be able to be used for those purposes. And that probably excludes the benches that are right on Main Street in the business area. But I think it would perhaps exclude the benches over on the upper side of the farmer's market, those around the courthouse, and for that matter, the courthouse grounds, although I guess maybe the county might have something to say about that. But any park-like setting, somebody mentioned the Riverbend Park. I frequently, well, I won't say frequently these days, but when I was younger, used to take a blanket down to a place like that and take a nap. And I think that this ordinance should permit such activities. It's the purpose of a green space, a park, even an in-town park, to allow for relaxation that might include lying down and taking a nap. So that's mainly what I wanted to say about that. And I'll reiterate the idea that we need to be mindful of what we're doing and what we're really doing, what our purpose is in adopting an ordinance like this. And that it needs to be administered without prejudice. And I do think that allowing folks that own property next to the sidewalk to tell somebody that they've got to move on is inappropriate. It's sort of vigilante-like, in my opinion. That is the responsibility of the police force. And if somebody doesn't like somebody hanging out in front of their business, then they need to bring it up with the police. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Yes, ma'am, I recognize you.
I wasn't planning to speak, but I realize I have a few things to add. My name is Chrissy Prater. I live at 1122D Prater Lane in Marion. I've lived here since 2019. Just to reiterate, some of the points that Tom made. I've never felt unsafe in this town. As a female walking alone at night, I have walked around downtown. For context, I used to live and work in inner city Baltimore, so I know what it feels like to be afraid of your environment, and I've never felt that here in Marion. I'm also a person who has occasionally napped in public, but that is not my concern. Although I will admit it, I don't think anybody would arrest me for it, but they might arrest somebody who looks or presents a little bit differently than me, a professional white lady napping on a bench. But my concerns are really that I think research has shown, and I apologize, I didn't have time to look up statistics, but I don't think loitering ordinances and similar ordinances have any positive effect on the mental health of individuals who are experiencing problems in the community. And so that would be my concern, in addition to perhaps subjective enforcement would be perhaps an exacerbation of mental health issues. I think a different approach might be warranted if those are the issues, but that brings up a good point. We haven't heard, except for our first commenter today, of any of the issues that caused this ordinance to arise or to be requested. So I'm not familiar with those. But I do have some concerns if it's strictly about mental health. I will say I was at the post office at 2:30 today, and that person was not there, and there was no apparent disturbance or anything at the post office. But I also don't think someone napping in public constitutes an emergency, and it doesn't constitute a mental health emergency, certainly. But that is my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm about to close. Yes, if it's a public hearing, the public is welcome to speak. Yes.
Thank you, I'm Barbara McClellan. I live on Meadow Drive, just above the infamous Riverbend Park. Never had an issue with anybody or anything. My concern is, do you all remember in the 80s when we went through this before, when they drained the state hospital of all patients that were not, did not give permission to be patients themselves? And I worked at the public library at the time, and we had to deal with all the homeless people that had no place to stay and stay warm in the winter. And we dealt with it at first very gingerly, but we dealt with it with good humor and creativity. It all worked out. I could tell you stories about some of the patients, patrons of the library that we had to deal with. And it all worked. It blew over and it worked. But going forward, I think the town of Marion is going to have to deal with this homeless issue in a more creative fashion rather than ordinances and this and that, laws, by getting some citizens together to go see what other towns, small towns have done. Because we're not the only place on the map that deals with this issue. And helping out the folks that already are dealing with it, trying to at least temporarily rehouse. Because this too will pass eventually. And it's going to take some money, some time, some effort, and a little creativity on all of our parts to deal with this issue. And I hope we deal with it in a really humane fashion. Thank you.
Ms. McClellan, thank you. And if I see no other hands that rise that wish to speak, I will now close the public part of this hearing and turn this over to council. Seeing none, this is now for council's discussion.
I'll make a motion, we revisit this, looking back at the ordinance, making sure we comply with the federal government, with everything that we want to do, and we see how we can maybe tweak this to meet the needs of all of our citizens.
I'll second that motion. I think the people who have spoken tonight, and I appreciate every one of you who have come to talk, has certainly opened my eyes to some issues that I didn't even think about. So I appreciate very much everyone coming to speak.
Okay, the hearing was to determine not the disposition of the ordinance, which is a good motion, Vice Mayor Gates. I appreciate your motion, but we need to decide whether, as a council, we are going to accept this ordinance in its form or reject it. Then we can.
I was just gonna ask Mark.
I sent it back.
Yeah, we send it
That's
back.
what I did. I sent it back.
But I
So-
was gonna ask Mark, does this pass legal muster as written?
So the issue is if somebody's doing something illegal and that the towns and cities that have been challenged, they have either wanted to prevent prostitution, drug use, and the ramifications from drug use. And so they have put in their ordinance that if they're doing something illegal, that then the Virginia Supreme Court has upheld it.
So, I was just interested in we have any store owners. Would you have an opinion on this? Feel free.
Sure.
Hello, my name is Luke Mercer. I own the new pawn shop in town, 112 East Main Street, Marion, Virginia. I just recently moved here from Frederick, Maryland at the beginning of the year. Much bigger city, but similar problems to what Marion has.
Yeah.
What intrigues me about, this is my first town meeting. I saw the issue that was being brought up, so I decided to come on down. What Mark just said, people doing something illegal, is what he just said. The proposed ordinance does not state that. It doesn't state somebody doing something illegal. Now, there's been several times, and I've only been open for about 4 months now, where there have been disturbances among some citizens up and down Main Street. Some could classify them as a mental issue, some not. I mean, there's tomato, it's an issue's an issue. I don't really go into classification of it. I haven't had to yet call the police about it because some people, let's just take mental issues aside, which it is a thing, mental issues. Some people like to toe the line. Now, there are some people that are First Amendment auditors or just people expressing the First Amendment. In this ordinance, it does state that me being a business owner, I could, without the ordinance, I have the power to warn people to not come back. I don't have the power to trespass somebody. That would be, after the warning, of a warning, hey, don't come back, then I would call the police and say, hey, I need this person trespassed, without warning. With this ordinance, it's taking the police out of the question because I'm the business owner, I have the right for the private property, but also that affects my neighboring businesses too, because it states they cannot go into an adjacent building. So now my trespass is trespassing off of somebody else's private property. According to this ordinance, hey, don't come back is also affecting my neighbor's business, per this ordinance, and not them doing something illegal, like Mark just stated. So I think it's very, very dangerous, this ordinance, personally. I feel that it can open up to a lot of lawsuits, especially when we're not describing, hey, Mark just said it's only 2 illegal issues, when this ordinance that written as is doesn't state that. It's saying just loitering, and that's per personal interpretation. So me being as a business owner, it's not my 2 cents to really dictate what people can and can't do. I can just do my best as a business owner to keep the peace in my building and do that as I see fit, really. But other people are now given that right per this ordinance. But yeah, I think that gets it across.
Are you saying?
I understand.
Explicitly has to be stated as such?
Well,
Or what, I mean, you know,
This-
everything's open for interpretation.
This might be something better discussed in committee if, as a point of order, we do not have to vote for or against this, that we can simply send it back to the committee, and then the committee can bring it back. At that time, we would have another public hearing, am I correct?
well, you can, or you can continue it maybe if you wanted to bring it up, have it revised and bring it up at the next council meeting, you can continue it.
Well, but then the public's not going to get a chance
Well,
to.
they're informed today,
Yeah,
and that's appropriate.
yeah, I think we've had it before and then had extra.
If I may, one more thing. The word illegal activity has been brought up again. It's illegal. Do we need an additional ordinance to enforce something that's illegal? We're overstepping on a line that's
We deem it
already.
to be illegal, the law deems it, correct me, Kevin, you there? You can explain to them if a business owner asks them to leave and they don't, then you step in, right?
Well, I can already do that as a business owner. That power is going to any occupant of the building per this ordinance.
But you're the owner.
Yes, but let's say I have a customer, they have the power to kick somebody out.
No, they wouldn't.
They
It'd
said,
be the-
please leave, and if they don't leave,
It would not be a customer, it would be the owner or the tenant. So if the owner has given a right,
okay, so then back to, it's already illegal per,
It's like a bar, they
Yeah.
can ask anybody to leave.
Well, of course, that's
at any
private
point in
property.
time. They don't have to call.
Of course.
Do the
yeah, well, they can't enforce the trespass, the police would have to do that. They just have to request that.
They still do, yeah.
They call and
Yeah,
look
they
for
call.
trespasses.
All the
Yeah.
time.
That's like,
You gotta take out.
Yeah.
that's like, for instance, Walmart, to use an example, or we've already signed up where if we see somebody that's, Walmart has signed an agreement where we can enforce trespassing on their property, or somebody that they're, come in when cruising was really heavy, not heavy. And that was just give us authority to be able to run the people off the property,
Yeah.
because they was calling on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
And, we just used that to merely run off the people that was out hanging on the parking lot and causing issues. And that's somewhat how this code enforcement will be as well. I mean,
Yeah.
officers, once they do arrive on scene, if you were to get called, they weigh everything out and get both sides of the story. And then the judge usually made in on what needs to happen.
Yeah, okay, so rewording it back to put like illegal activities into the ordinance, is that what I heard?
Okay, I'm going to ask that this discussion be continued to another time because we are fast approaching other business that we need to get done. In the instance of time, I am going to call for a vote on the motion that we send this back to committee. However, if that means we don't have another public hearing on the revised ordinance, then I need to find a way for that to happen because I do not want the public not to be informed about this issue if we're going to simply change a few lines and then bring it back and work on it as a council. I believe that this is an important enough issue that the public needs to be involved, and sidestepping it in this manner is not advised by me.
Yeah, I agree. The thing that I think that stood out to me after hearing you talk, I don't want to be a part of anything that says a certain group of people can't do what their rights are. And I don't know if this has taken away any of their rights or not, but I'd like to know what other smaller towns do with their loitering ordinances?
Well, I think Todd covered that, didn't he, Todd? He checked with Withville, Abingdon, and so on and so forth.
did, but I can gather that information and bring it back to the committee.
Okay.
Maybe we as council members need to go there and talk to other council members from other neighboring communities and set up some communication there. Maybe that would be the better way for us to fully understand, and I'm willing to do that. But we have a motion on the floor and we have a second. We need to get to that. Cindy, could you remind us of the motion?
Yes, Dr. Gates' motion is to revisit and send this back, this ordinance back to comply with the federal government and the needs of the citizens.
Okay.
And I second it.
Your second still stands. So, in the interest of time, I would hope that we will have another public hearing on this matter if it comes back, because it certainly merits that. All in favor of sending this back to committee, please. Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. This is going to back to committee. That closes the public hearing for the loitering ordinance, and I want to thank everyone for your words, for your opinions, and please keep them coming. We'll revisit this issue at another time. Now, public comment time. Wow. We do have some people that signed up for public comment. I noticed that Charles Hayden has left. Maddie Pitts, you are welcome now to the floor.
Hi. Oh, I'm a little short. I'm Maddie Pitts. I am the Executive Assistant and Deputy Clerk for the Smith County Administrator's Office. I live at 137 East Main Street here in Marion. Y'all all should have gotten these awesome flyers. I'll leave the rest of them here. But myself and the Marion EDA Administrative Assistant, Ellen Frazier, we have been spearheading this attempt to get more young people involved in local government. I haven't looked around the room, but I have a guess that I might be one of the youngest people here, so you might realize that there aren't a lot of young people involved in government. So our idea is to kind of hit them while they're in high school. We are offering college internships. We have a few applications for that as well at Smith County, but we really want to target this high school age demographic. And so we've set aside a budget in the Smith County. We're going to be selecting 3 high school students, 1 to represent each town. And their goal is to plan an event that brings more young people to be involved in local government. So not only are we getting young people involved through this program, it's going to look really great on a resume, you know, whether they're going to jobs, to trade school, college, whatever they want to do after high school graduation. You know, we're mobilizing the youth in that way, but also we're getting kids involved through whatever program they might plan. This is based and modeled off of a program that Withville's Economic Development Association has implemented. You can just Google Youth Ambassador Program and you will see lots of local governments have seen a lot of success from programs like this. So we're really excited to get this started. Applications close December 12th, so please tell any seniors in high school that you know to please apply. We're very, very excited. If you'll have any questions for me, you can ask them now. My email's also at the bottom. Send me an email, or if you see Ellen around, she can help you out as well.
I want to say this is a great idea. I mean, I'm trying to get young people involved in things, and it is very difficult.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think it helps too. I mean, not to be too obvious, but Ellen and I are young, so I think it helps too. You know, I maybe slightly remember what high schoolers are into, so hopefully, you know, we'll be a little bit less intimidating, I hope.
Great, hope. Good luck.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Maddie, thank you very much. We appreciate you. We did have Bill Huber, who has left, Tom Hauer, who has also left, David Fulton. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. David Fulton, Pearl Avenue. Mr. Gates brought up an issue at the last town meeting about some of the revenues coming into town. I was just curious as to how much food tax we have taken in the past 5 months. Is that a possibility to get?
Yeah, I mean, with Freedom of Information Act, sure. Isn't that correct, Mark? Yeah, just go, you know, does he have to fill out a form? Well, I would think. I mean,
I think this is something that the town keeps records of and can be
yeah,
easily
just
determined.
just
Yeah,
get
it's-
something, sign it, and
It's on our
get it to
thing.
Mark, or drop it off at town hall.
Well, there's a form online if they wanted to use that form.
Okay.
Okay, is this a FOIA request,
It
or?
would be a FOIA request, but it's
Yeah.
one that should be easily
Easily
available.
Yeah,
Okay.
at no cost, it won't be a
Um,
cost, obviously.
Okay, if it's a no-cost public information.
Okay,
then,
yeah, I was just curious about the food tax for the
Yeah.
past 5
um,
months.
Give us that in writing, and somebody will get to you on that, okay?
There's a form online that you can go to the town webpage.
No. Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. And I don't see anyone else that is signed up for public comment time. So, since it's been kind of a haphazard meeting, I will see if there's any others that have not had the availability to sign the sheet that want to speak under public comments. None being heard, then we'll close the public comment section and we'll move on to council members' reports. If you don't mind, we'll start at the end with Councilman Carter.
District 3, we had a meeting, Neil Osborne, past mayor of Bristol, is the new chairman. So he took over, and we ordered some new buses. As you know, they run constantly and they will just wear out. They're not gonna last that long, and ultra expensive, and as far as knowing exactly how much federal funds we're going to get at is yet to be determined. Basically made a budget on last year's financial situation, because we still haven't gotten stuff down from the federal government. That's about it. It's running. District 3 provides a very good, unique service to this area, and thank the drivers when you see them. They're we go an extra mile hiring good drivers, courteous and safe. That's it.
Okay. Councilman May.
No reports, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Atwell.
So I have just one thing to report on, and that would be back to the issue, the parking issue that we referred to committee on Main Street, going from 3 hours to possibly 2 hours. And committee has discussed this, and what we have discussed is that rather than making any knee-jerk reactions and changing any parking regulations, the bigger elephant in the room was the fact that the ones that we do have are not currently enforced. So rather than going and changing anything right off the bat, we feel like it would be better to, as a council, discuss how we're going to enforce it, to see if, once we enforce what we already have in place, if it may already be adequate, considering the fact that what we're currently doing is no enforcement on what's already in place. And another thing that was brought up was merchants taking up parking places on Main Street. It's been asked if there's maybe we can have a small ask of the merchants not to use any of the customer parking that would be utilized on Main Street, if that's possible. So rather than any anything being done as far as changing the times or anything, we felt like we would like to have council weigh in as a whole on the enforcement of what we're already doing.
That's a very good idea. Do you think that you could put Ken Heath on that? And
If you don't mind, Your Honor, Mr. Atwell, the town Marion Downtown Association in the town put out flyers. We go around to merchants and pass them out. We're trying the kind way of doing it, but the biggest thing it's going to take is for council to decide how we're going to enforce it, and then get with Kevin and have a strong police presence downtown. That's what we care. That's all we want. We we try to, people, most of the people understand and they don't park on Main Street. We have a couple that we just can't convince. And we should do it.
And that being said, I'm one of the biggest offenders. I park in front of the store. I forget where I parked. I forget what's happening. I ask my neighbors, call me. Say, hey, Avery, you're parked on the street. Move your vehicle. I'll do that. And I won't take offense at it. I just forget. Sometimes I believe we just forget. So we could, as business owners, just be good neighbors. And remember, every parking place that a merchant takes is one that a customer can. So.
That's right.
And this has been a constant thing for years. He goes every few months and reminds them, don't park out front. But, and some do, some listen, and some don't. But it's aggressive.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue is just finding some kind of reasonable enforcement, we feel like. And then if we can come to that type of agreement and we start enforcing it and then we realize that the 3 hours isn't achieving what we want, then I think at that point we should revisit scaling it back to 2 hours. But if we're not enforcing what's there, it doesn't matter what we change it to.
Okay, and the committee can meet anytime that they want to about any subject that they see. You don't have to wait for council to send it to committee. You're on the committee to look at things that just make sure that you let the town manager know that the committee is meeting.
Right. Could I ask the police chief a question?
Mr. Councilman Atwell, do you cede your time to Ms. Jennings?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Do you have the force, the employees to enforce it?
It would be tough. Technology is used on today's enforcement. I called around several different agencies asking about this when it came up the last go around. And Abingdon is in dilemma now with parking. The city of Bristol is, Tennessee and Virginia as well. And I spoke with other agencies. I did call and speak with Blacksburg and other agencies where they do have big parking issues. And they use technology a lot now. Sometimes the license plate readers are in place on vehicles and they can go around and document. Actually, you can use cameras. The initial part of it is just expense to be able to catch up with today's enforcement measures to be able to do that. And there's cases where, like, if you're 2 or 3 hour parking, a vehicle can be documented, and it uses the LPR recognition stuff to recognize where a vehicle's at in a certain parking spot, or cameras taking pictures. And there has been some issues brought up about that in Abingdon, from what I understand, about how long we're gonna hold on to pictures and stuff like that, and what Abingdon's facing. But the technology is out there to be able to enforce it. It's just, we'd have to get some manpower and the initial cost of everything to enforce.
Okay, thank you.
And Councilwoman Jennings, do you have further for us?
I just have a couple of Christmas things that's going to happen on December the 6th, this Saturday. The Friends of the Library are having a huge book sale. We'd like to sell all the books that we have in the garage and downstairs, and that's hundreds of books. A plastic bag from the grocery store will be $5. Fill it full of books. And then the paper bag from grocery stores will be $10. So we've got a lot of good new books, current books. So tell your friends and come, please, on December the 6th, 10 to 2 at the library. Then the Joyful Noise Choir is going to have a Christmas cantata on December the 13th at the Marion Baptist Church. So I invite everybody to come to that because it's going to be a nice performance. That's all.
Thank you. It's Christmas time.
It is.
Councilwoman Spencer.
No report.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Gates.
Yes, the tree board has been meeting, and in the process of this, they got a number of trees planted in front of the Henderson where those trees were removed, And also, they had some extra trees at the time, so they were planted at Steel Park. No, I'm sorry, they were planted on Callan Drive. So they're working diligently to help manage the trees, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilwoman Hayes?
Nothing.
Nothing today?
report.
Thank you. And, okay, under the mayor's report, I want to tell everyone that I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I actually went to the Gobbler Gallop. My number was 605, and I finished first because I took one step and quit.
Oh.
But it was very well attended, and I stopped by the Methodist Church for a couple of minutes and watched them preparing a lot of food to go out into the community, and a lot of people doing a lot of volunteerism and being active on Thanksgiving. I went home and went into a turkey coma. But anyway, in other mayoral news, I'm going to go ahead and close the mayor's report so we can get to other things. Again, thank you, everyone, and council, thank you for everything that you're doing. We will go on with the attorney's report.
So just for council's information, you'll see at the next council meeting, a $24 charge to get an address changed on 2 Wharton debts that involve the town of Marion revolving loan funds. The town police did get involved after that, and thankfully they obtained service on the 2 individuals, whereas the person that previously attempted just said, can't find. The town police went the extra mile and found them. Now, we do have 2 others that will ask the court to, again, continue so that we might be able to involve the services of a private detective to find 2 individuals that have moved to Richmond because they have pretty substantial loans. So we'll end up having more expense, but they weren't able to be found based upon the address that we have provided in the city of Richmond. But we do have hearings coming up December 11th. And again, I would like to thank the town of Marion Police Department.
All right, good deal. Anything else, sir?
That's all.
Okay, let's go with staff reports and Cindy Stanley.
No report, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Chief Testerman. And thank you for using that mic.
Yes. We, a couple weeks ago now, coming up on us, we went over to the sheriff's office and discussed any active shooter, had an active shooter roundtable about what would go on in certain situations on how it would be handled and who would set up where. We're having a good working relationship with the sheriff's office and also Virginia State Police and other agencies within their county. We left from that meeting, ended up going to the Smith County Community Hospital since we would probably more than likely be a first responder there, first on scene, and discussed an active shooter roles and what we'd have in the hospital. And there, you know, we do have key cards for the hospital to gain entry into any areas and anything like that. We went over, it was a couple-hour meeting that day for active shooter plans. Got some really good, valuable information to go along. We're going to be getting new key cards for the sheriff's office to gain entry into the courthouse and also their facilities, and getting new key cards for Smith County schools and also the campus of Emory. So it's some good information about that, because in the past, our cards would stay programmed for a while, and you wouldn't program it, would just stop working, you couldn't gain access. We got everything going for this week. We got Marion planned for Thursday night, to have some additional staffing coming out. And also the Christmas parade on Friday night, everything's finalized. So, gonna be a busy week.
All right.
That's all my report, unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I do not see anyone currently in the building representing fire and EMS. Oh, wait a minute. There's Chief Kiesling. I didn't see you over there.
I'm here on behalf of Chief Ham. The call count just off the bat from November is like 245 unverified, but we have to, which means it's even busier than last month. So we have been quite busy. We're also preparing for the Friday night's parade. The weather doesn't look too favorable, but we're hoping for the best. And also, I was told that the Grinch will be out in his sleigh Saturday the 13th to pass that along.
We'll look for him.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions.
Do you go to all streets?
In the years past, we've done that in a couple of different nights. So we're going to attempt to do it in one night on that Saturday. And if not, or if somebody was missed, just let us know and we'll do it again. That's not a problem.
All right.
Anybody have any questions about anything or?
Sounds good.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move along with Ken Heath and Economic Development.
There you go. Thank you very much. Thursday night, we have our Christmas tree lighting at 6. We'll start from about 5:30 with program. Jimmy Fortune is playing at the Lincoln that night, so he's going to come up and light the Christmas tree for us. And then Friday night is the Christmas parade. It's going to be nice and cold both nights, so please bundle up. Next Friday, we're doing 2 ribbon cuttings at noon. Luke's already gone, but we'll be doing ribbon cutting at the pawn shop, and then at 12:30, Blazing Scoops, the new waffle and ice cream store downtown where Sarah's Jewelry used to be. So please put those on your calendar. Send out an email reminder to you.
Christmas tree lighting's what, 6?
6.
Parade's at 7.
Parade's at 7, line up at 6.
With the given forecast, should we go ahead and consider the possibility of altering that route based on our last discussion that we had about this?
I'll defer to Dr. Gates on that one.
Pardon?
Talking about the forecast for Friday night.
Christmas tree lighting's Thursday.
The Thursday night, we're good. That's easy to route that one because that's right in front of the, that one's easy.
This was the problem I had before when we discussed it.
Yep.
They're going to Food City.
Yeah, we brought it up.
We're not cutting it short. Everybody said last time, don't cut it short. It's going to Food City.
Not everybody.
Not every,
I
yeah,
know,
not
but we got
everybody.
voted.
Yeah.
We got voted that we're going to Food City.
Okay, yeah, you still have the ability to.
Unless someone tells me different.
I thought that we had left it open. to
Yes, you
consideration.
still have the ability to control safety. Absolutely. I mean, safety is the first
I
concern.
think with the
safety
weather,
of
that would fall under safety.
Yeah, and we can't.
So
But the
I'm not gonna make the call. Someone tell me what to do Friday evening.
The
Well,
majority
we'll
of
look at it
council-
at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
somebody be in charge of the call.
Someone
I
just tell
won't
me.
even be in town. So
Make the call.
You're gonna have to get the word out.
Yeah.
because You'll have people from.
Yeah,
Well, that was- I think that was-
That's what I
All
said.
in Food City that won't get to see the parade.
And
They'll
need
be
to
parked out there.
pick their
If
children
you
out.
don't
Yeah.
get the word out.
right.
Not to be the guy that says I told you so, but when I brought this up last time, if we'd have done it then, we'd have had enough time to publicize it. I'm afraid if we went now and even put out Nixle and did Channel 5 and
Oh,
Channel
no,
11,
no.
it's
We
too late.
voted on it. We're going to Food City. But, I mean, if it's a blinded snowstorm, you can call off the parade entirely.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that's-
Or
it's-
blizzard or ice. I'd be more worried
Yeah.
about ice than I would anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we live in the woods.
Yes.
It snows in the woods.
And it's calling for some snow Friday afternoon, turning to icy rain, so
Yeah.
we'll keep our fingers crossed. We have a nice parade and Santa Claus is happy and brings us all toys.
Can't
That's it.
control the
Thank you.
weather.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ken.
Ken, thank you very much. Todd Long with zoning and property maintenance. No report, okay. Thank you, sir. And Town Manager Billy Ham.
I don't have any significant changes in your project, so unless you all have questions, I will say no report.
Okay, that is fair enough, and thank you, sir. Okay, we will be going into closed session, and Ms. Jennings, Councilwoman Jennings, if you take us into closed session.
Okay. I make a motion, we go into closed session to discuss the town manager hiring process as allowed under 2.23711, and that is A1 personnel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor of going into closed session? And we,
Mayor, you do have it on the agenda, but you may want to remind the public that it will be continued for a second.
we will be continuing this meeting, but we will go back into open session to actually continue the meeting until tomorrow. So, and then we will be going immediately into closed session for town manager. And we'll take a 5-minute recess.
Okay, I make a motion that we come back into open session and declare we only did the interview that we went into closed session to do as allowed under State Code 2.23712.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to come back into open session. All in favor?
No.
No, we have to be polled, yeah.
We're live.
Oh, do I have to say it again?
No.
Oh, I make a
motion already before I was in here?
Uh-huh.
Probably should do it again.
I make a motion, we come back into open session and declare that we only discussed, did the one interview for, town manager as allowed under State Code 2.23712, and it's personnel A1.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Cornett, yes.
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 I make
Marion
a
Town
motion, we
Council.
continue this meeting. Do you need that, Mark?
Yeah, we did, we did.
We
What?
continue this meeting? Do you want something else?
No, I wanted to announce that we're back in open session.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And now, if there's any business that needs to come before the town council,
I'll make the motion that we continue this meeting till tomorrow at 5:30, Tuesday the 2nd at 5:30.
Second.
motion and second of continuance of the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. So our meeting is now continued until tomorrow at the appointed time.
And I make the motion to adjourn.
Well, now you're.
No, we can't do that. You have to take your motion back. Please rescind your motion.
No one seconds it.
Because we're continued the meeting, so we're not.
Well, we're adjourning for the night.
No, no.
The
We're continuing.
the meeting just continues.
Come on, work with us, this is what we found
Just,
out.
just,
I've been in a ton of meetings,
Just-
just adjourned for the night.
No.
I'll rescind it, but I mean, I'll argue with you.
all in favor of the continuance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
It's like a.